Nkuna, can you please tell us briefly who are you and just briefly about your personal life?
Evening. How are you, entrepreneurs? Before I answer your question, it's a prayer in my heart that entrepreneurship could be as contagious as Listorious is, and that it could be, we could catch it just in the air, breathe it, and we inhale it, and we all wake up as entrepreneurs. My name is Nkuna. I'm from Winterveld. Who knows Winterveld? Scandaf.
Now I'm scared.
Born and bred in Winterveld. There's nothing much to write home about my personal life, except the fact that I'm a vessel. I've just accepted a call when I've been called to do this. To me, it's not a business. May I say it's a ministry. It's a calling. It's something that if I don't do, I'll stop breathing. I'm like fish. Entrepreneurship is water. I know a lot of people would like to talk about their educational background. I'm a serial dropout.
I haven't heard that before.
I'm a serial dropout. When I say that, I mean I've almost graduated in my life 7 times. Almost. And raised by a single mother. If you know Winterveld, you know the background, you know the struggle that we've been through. Got into this thing not by chance, but by design. So I am doing this not because I want to survive, but because I love it so much. I don't see myself doing any other thing. I don't see myself. I used to work, yes, in the corporate space, but obviously I was suffocating until I found this, until I started doing this. I've been in this game now for 15 years, and in the line of business that I'm at now for 13, 14 years. So that's in a nutshell. Married, 1 wife, just 1 wife, who I love dearly. And if you may allow me, let me say, and it's the truth, I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart, if this woman was not behind me, I wouldn't be sitting here. Amen. There was a time in my life when everything went pear-shaped. She was working, she's in a good job, should go to work, get paid, take a bank card, just withdraw her petrol money and pocket money and take the rest and give it to me and say, go try again. So this is the woman that stood behind me, and I owe her, I don't know. 5 kids, we Shangan men with children. 5 kids, 3 girls, 2 boys, 1 girl passed on. But we a very tight family. It's basically
it.
Sure.
Your wife, it's a woman that needs to be celebrated. You say she's been behind you, and with the work that you do,
yes,
you wouldn't be where you are if
yes,
it wasn't because of her.
That's true.
So they're saying that behind every successful man, there's a woman. Is it true?
I wouldn't consider myself successful if I have to be honest. I was saying to Monde earlier, there's a lot of times when people are given platforms like this, we want to talk about the successes, most of which are fictional. As an entrepreneur and as a genuine one, as an authentic one, I want to tell you, I cannot sit in front of you and say I'm super successful. I'm never. I have not even begun to scratch the surface. It's humbling that every day I find myself 2-3 steps ahead of where I was the previous day. But can I call that success? No, I owe that to a number of people that are around me that are basically patient with me, that are helping me progress. But it has not gotten to a state where I can proudly say, or I can arrogantly say I'm successful. I would say behind how do I put this? A man with a crocodile skin, there's a supportive woman. Behind a man who's persistence, behind a man who's tenacious, behind a man who's faced all the storms and stood up, behind a phoenix, there is a woman like my wife.
I wish I had a wife. Gift, the number of businesses that you've been involved with to date, how many? And out of those, which was your greatest learning that you got out of it?
I'm not only a serial dropout, I'm a serial entrepreneur. In 2002, I started formally, but I've started business way before that. But in 2002, I started something called ISM, Inner Strength Marketing. Now, Inner Strength Marketing, what we did is I went around the country in this Technicon where fashion designers were housed. I'll take fashion designers who could not afford setting up their own shops. They'll design from home. We had an office in Sunnyside, a very big office. Now would display their work and would host fashion shows every month. It was quite a beautiful, vibrant. To cut the long story short, what you see with YDE, it's what I did first in 2002. So there's a number of fashion designers that we hosted. But you know, that business, when it collapsed, if I was not anchored spiritually, I would have committed suicide. Because it collapsed in such a way that the one morning you had over 5 million rands in the bank account, you wake up the following day, you've got minus 47 rands. And I'm not telling you stories. That's exactly what we experienced. And how did we get there? The guy that I partnered with some guy, a Nigerian guy. He withdrew the money immediately after a fashion show. The monies that were supposed to pay the fashion designers, the models and everything, the sponsors had deposited money in their account. Then the guy somehow managed to withdraw the money and disappeared. So from that experience, one had to be hospitalized, depressed, stayed in hospital for like 3 months or so. That is the first business that I started. The second one, when I came back from that, I was identified by Billy Slicker. And one of the things that I do is I write books. I'm an author. So Billy Slicker liked what I was doing, and he took me under his arm and we started working together. That's when I started gifting Nkuna Communications, where we did motivational talks and stuff. From then, we established Makazelo Trading and Projects. Makazelo was inspired by the fact that in 2005, I invented a board game. It's called the Super-Poney. I don't know how many of you know of the game. It's a game that we use to train entrepreneurs instead of taking people through the conventional setup where we use manuals and a teacher approach, teacher-learner approach. We use a game to train entrepreneurs. So Makazelo was built on that. And then following Makazelo, we now set up Binzu, which I love this. This is my baby. Somebody was asking me, what does Binzu stand for? Binzu is a Shangaan word for business. But if you look at the logo there, you'll see IND is highlighted there. So what we're trying to say is business individualized. So we're generating solutions, we developing solutions to deal with individual challenges. We are not going to use a one-size-fits-all kind of approach. This is we call it an accelerator. It's not an incubator. It's a higher level of an incubator where we're saying you are an individual. You are not a number. So you've got your individual challenges and individual expectations, individual strengths. So if you can get an incubator that treats you as such, not assume that you need a seat and Wi-Fi, and they say we've incubated you because we gave you Wi-Fi and a seat, but give you solutions that will actually propel you to an extent that we are even going to an extent of saying entrepreneurs need medical aid. Why can't we get them medical aid? And we are doing that. We're coining that. We've signed with Essential Medical Aid. We are giving entrepreneurs medical aid. We are partnering with people that are bringing solutions on board through the Bindzu platform.
Can we just park Binzu
Yes.
for now? Because it's too exciting and we won't touch on other points. I first had an interaction with you last year on your masterclass.
Yes.
You were speaking about client relationship management.
Yes.
And you were telling us about your personal life experience, how business went bad, and how some of your employees stayed with you. Do you remember
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Can you just share with us the importance of client relationship management, and broadly to you, what would you say is client relationship?
Okay. To correct you, I think let's not make this a scientific subject and say client relationship, but rather let's say relationship management.
Okay.
Because once you start saying client relationship management, people tend to think there is a formula that you interact with people that are bringing money, but we tend not to respect the people that are sacrificing their time, their skill, their expertise. We are only focusing on people that are basically bringing paper money into the business. So if we just remove the client relationship and say relationship management, that's basically how I want to approach this thing from. Like I said, I have fallen not once. There might be those few occasions where I say this one was the worst, this one was the second worst, but I have failed in my life, so many times. And I have nailed it down to one thing and one thing only: relationship management. There are three things. There are companies that are very successful, and if you can just sort of like investigate, you'll find that there are three things that they are focusing on. One, they make sure that they save you time. Two, they make sure that they either save you money or give you value for money. Three, they make sure that they make your life better. You might think this is how businesses run, but that's exactly how life is run. When you walk into people's life, one, don't come and disrespect or deplete their resources. That's number one, because that's how relationship fail. Secondly, value people's time. And number three, make sure that you make them better. And number three, I want to focus on number three the most. When we're saying you're making somebody's life better, I would like to coin it under the word saying be relevant in their lives. When you are relevant, you are adding value in somebody else's life. And the word relevant itself is built from two separate words: relation and vantage. So your relationship with that person must give them an advantage in their life. Now, when you look at the third one, how do you become relevant in somebody else's life, or how do you even start saving or respecting their resources or their time if you have not coined that relationship with yourself? You've got nothing to give to that person. I believe relationships, be it business, be it personal, be it in the office, it's something like there's an empty basket that is put between the two parties. You need to pour yourself out into the basket, and the other party does the same. They pour themselves into the basket. You stir. The solution that you get, you are both going to drink from there. So if one of you is holding something back, that relationship is not going to be genuine. So the issue of respecting, of managing relationship properly, it comes from the fact that you are in business. If I may ask, I don't know if I'm allowed to pose a question quickly because I want to make a point. Why are you in business?
Provide a solution.
To provide a solution? Somebody?
In addition to that, it's more fulfilling than being employed.
It's more fulfilling than being employed?
Make man
I'm coming to you, my brother. To make profit from solving people's challenges. You said to make money.
To make money.
And then the other?
Me, the reason why I'm in business is to free my time so that I
Okay. I want to zoom into the brother who said to make money. There's nothing wrong with making money. But let me tell you something. What I've learned in the past 15 years or so is that money is a byproduct in business. Can I repeat that? You know, when you are a livestock farmer and you slaughter cattle and you're selling beef, choice meat and stuff, there are things that you don't, they are there, but they're not as important. Things like your offals, your intestines and all those things, they are there. I mean, they're part and parcel of the cattle that you've slaughtered. But then, so I believe the moment you start seeing money as a byproduct, it's the moment that you'll be magnetized to money. Because money repels people that are chasing it, but it runs after people that are purposeful and that are adding value in other people's lives. So the issue of money is a currency, guys, but it's not as strong a currency as relationships are. All the deals that you have lost in your life is because of lack of proper relationships. All the deals that you have closed in your life, you can think back, it's not a matter of brown envelopes, leave them aside, we're not talking the Gupta mentality. All the business that you've closed in your life is because of relationship management. I meet you today, I give you an expectation. If next week I fail to deliver on an expectation that I've created, already our relationship, the relationship between you and me is failing. And it's going to take me another year to build that trust and to build that relationship back. So basically in business, we are in business to secure and cement relationships, not for money. Money is a byproduct. You get rewarded by if you add value in other people's lives, the universe will reward you financially. It will reward you with assets, with all the other things, but it's not about money. I'm not saying I don't need money to do the stuff, but I have learned in the past couple of months that I need to keep working, and I just realized that money start, you know, there's a song by Davido. You know, it's true, it's true. Have I answered you, sir?
You have, but we removed the client and we only left with relationship
Yes,
management.
Yes.
Can we touch on the importance of, or where employees would fit in relationship management?
Okay. The one thing, I know, guys, we are entrepreneurs, and I believe I'm actually declaring this. 97% of people who are here are going to create job opportunities. I don't care what you think, but I'm planting it in your mind, and I want you to believe it from this point onwards. Now, I want you to understand one thing. When I have a vision and maybe an idea, I start a business. The moment I employ the other person and expect them to help me to get to my vision or to get to my goal, the least I can do is to properly sell the vision to the person. And when they bought the vision, I need to respect them, that a lot of people have sacrificed a lot of things in their life just to believe in what I believe in. So because of that, they are not just an employee. They are co-visionaries with me. So I need to treat them as such. The moment you start looking at your employees as tools, you have failed yourself and you have failed your vision, because they will become just that. And you know, there's nothing that will get out of a tool. I mean, can you drive innovation management with a computer sitting there? You need people to give you ideas, to give you feedback, for you to drive innovation management and remain relevant. But then if the people that you have in your space are not happy with the relationship that you have with them, they're not going to add any value with you. We need to move from, I mean, as much as you, and it's funny, it's very ironic, and I believe it's very hypocritical, the fact that a lot of us jumped out of formal employment because we said, no, I want to be free. But we want people to come to a space and we imprison them. Think of yourself when you're still working for that company. Those of you that left their formal jobs, think of yourself when you're still working for that company. What led you to jump? Then people come to your space and then you treat them the way you have been treated where you jumped from. and you expect them to add value in your business, it becomes problematic. So these are the things that when I talk about relationship management, I want us to be conscious of. The fact that the people that are around you, they are not just employees, they are core visionaries, because they are going to help you. From the lady who's doing the dishes in your office to the lady who's at the reception and even the highest paid employee in your team, these are core visionaries, because if one of them was to change and work against the vision, believe you me, I've experienced that. Just one person, it takes just one person. No matter how insignificant you may think the person is, just one person, if that person turns around and work against your vision, you will never move. Any question?
Any question from the audience?
That one deserves a tweet.
Yes, Martin?
I'm in a space whereby I've started my company. We have the vision. We're running as the owners. But we know we're going to get to a point whereby we'll have employees. Now, giving them the vision and they buy the vision, how then do you keep the relationship professional in a situation whereby they keep behaving in a professional manner but also inspired to push your vision ahead?
Can I, before I answer you, what is professionalism? You know, guys, we like being scientific, we like being too complex, we like throwing jargons around. What is professionalism?
It's the culture of what you have in the company.
The culture, what else? It's actually all wrapped up with the culture. The culture is basically the packaging of professionalism in the business, isn't it? What was your
I think it's a way people conduct themselves so that things are clearly understood between your personal life and your career. Your work life.
Exactly. Now, in your case, how would you consider a person unprofessional?
A person would be unprofessional if, like my brother said, if they start bringing the home problems to work. I understand that everyone has problems from home and so forth. But once you're at work, at least focus on the vision that you're trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would expect. That if you have problems, yes, you have problems. And maybe we'll pull you at a corner at some point and then talk to you and try and solve the problems. But once you're at work, the most important thing, it's the vision that's supposed to be driven.
You know, just by saying that, my brother, your answer is a mouthful. You have basically answered yourself. Because what I've picked up in all these years is that the most unprofessional people in our space are those that we have not sufficiently sold the vision to. They are not, when you have communicated what you just said to the people, you don't necessarily have to be running behind people. You have planned, the moment the vision is embedded and is engraved in the people's spirit and mind, it creates what we refer to as a business consciousness. I'm not saying people are not going to misbehave, but what I'm saying is instead of you being stressed by somebody going out of the way and doing something that is wrong, the rotten apples are going to sort themselves up, because you would have sold. Come on, if I tell you that don't sit on that chair, this is a chair that I've reserved for Monday, and I walk out and you sit on the chair, what will happen if you know that I'm your senior? The moment I walk into the room and you're sitting on the chair, what happens?
Stand up.
Why?
Authority.
Because unfortunately, you know why? I know it might seem like you might think this guy's running away from this question. I'm trying to say something, communicate something here, that, guys, we've got an issue, and especially the first few people that we employ. We sit with them, we sell the vision. But the next person that comes, if somebody says, hey, we need a cleaner, why don't we make that time, sit down with the cleaner, that cleaner, this is the culture. This is what we do, how we're doing things here. Then we need a receptionist. Somebody says, I've got my cousin has not been employed. But you don't even meet that receptionist. They come to work, and then you just sign the contract. You don't even get to introduce yourself to this person. You don't sit with them and sell the vision personally. You expect the second person to sell the vision on your behalf. It is a problem because now they get a diluted or an eroded vision. And when they run in your business using that eroded vision, don't expect them to behave professionally. I would say make time for people. You know, in the late 90s, early 2000s, we started this thing in corporate entities where they did when you get employed, they used to call them, what do you call that? When they are taking you in, by the way, what's the word? Induction. And the way it is done, the way it was done when I was still working for Discovery Health, it was beautiful. Then I went and worked for another company. I realized that people are starting to hire consultants to do that. Yes. Companies, don't you know that? Am I lying? No. Companies start hiring consultants to do inductions on their behalf. There are people who run businesses that were induction consultants. I mean, that's what they do. And then you expect this person to sell a secondary vision to the person who wants to run at the quality of a first-hand vision. They are not co-owners to your vision. So basically I'm saying there are management principles which we need to adhere to, but before that, let's make sure that the foundation and the pillars, the principles and the values are set in concrete. Then people know what they're buying into. Have I answered you, my brother? Fully. Sure.
Nkuna, earlier on, you mentioned in the afternoon, you spoke about authentic entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Can you please tell us what is that?
You know, when I talk about authentic entrepreneurs, I get goosebumps because that's what we lack in the country. That's why you find there's a lot of resources, and people will say the government is not helping us. Let me tell you something, guys. There's a lot of money that's been thrown at people who are not authentic. Instead of multiplying the resources, they deplete it because they're not authentic. Authentic entrepreneurs, in my definition, is somebody who's running the business for the purpose of survival, but not to add any value. They don't understand their purpose of existence. They don't understand why they are. If you ask them, if you ask a person, why did you start a business? And I'm tempted to ask that question and prompt and keep saying why. People will give you so many byproducts before they even get to the actual thing. Or some of them get frustrated because they don't have that one thing. There's one thing that we need to understand about authenticity. It's magnetic. Anything authentic, it's magnetic. Anything fake is repelling. So when we're talking authentic entrepreneurship, we are saying, you know, that I have identified a need, and this need is in line with my strength. And I am in this space to add value or to resolve this particular need. Yes, I know I want to survive hunger at home. Yes, I know I want to sign up to a particular status in life. Yes, I know this and that, but at the end of the day, when all of these things are peeled off like an onions layers, what remains? Why am I in business? If tomorrow somebody was to say, we've got Bitcoins that is coming up fast now. If tomorrow somebody was saying, we are removing money as a currency for exchange and for trading, what is it that you'll be running your business for? A lot of you will be hiding notes behind your mattresses because you would think money is very important. But the currency, the biggest currency, as I said, is relationship. But the one thing that drives relationship is purpose. If you are not relevant to the current generation, don't expect to make money out of it. Authenticity is relevance.
So let's say now I found my purpose.
Yes.
What things would you give as guidance to entrepreneurs so that we can stand a better chance to be successful or to not to have our businesses run down?
We've got a model that we call the accelerator model in the Super-Poney. The accelerator model, there's 4 arms to the accelerator model. The first one, we say we want authenticity. We'll be detecting authenticity. Once we get authenticity, we move to the second thing. We call it the strength focus area. You know, anything that you focus on grows. Do you know that? If you focus on negativity, it grows. If you focus on positivity, it grows. So the problem is a lot of entrepreneurs focus on what they cannot do, and in the process neglect what they are supposed to be doing. That is where you lose some element of your the strength to magnify or to attract, to become a magnet and attract and bring resources to you. That's number 2, strength focus. The third thing, we call it balance. Entrepreneurship, it's a lonely journey. You know, guys. You wake up in the middle of the night. I don't know, has nobody here ever woken in the middle of the night without the alarm ringing, just you, because you're thinking of the challenges that are ahead of you. You're thinking of the bills that you have to pay. You're thinking of this deal that you must close, that you're lacking tools to secure it, and all these things that are happening. Now, when we're talking balance, I need you to understand one thing, that before you're an entrepreneur, and I'm not talking religion, there's the first thing, spirituality. Everything, every battle is won in the spirit. When I'm saying that, what I'm trying to say is, in the spirit is where the intangible things are created, meaning your principles, your values, your belief systems. These are the things that you cannot put them in a package and give to anybody else, but they must be there before you become an entrepreneur. You must have something that you believe in. You must have something that drives you. You must have something that says, even when you're fallen, saying, I still exist for this thing. Let me wake up and go. So that is a spiritual aspect of entrepreneurship. And after that, the spiritual aspect, we now look at the fact that, guys, people like myself, we are very unhealthy as entrepreneurs. And we are not able to give the best energies. Health is very important. When we're talking balance, we're saying entrepreneurs should start taking health very critical. We need to come on. If I die today, there's no one who's going to be doing what I'm doing or replace me in the business tomorrow. The vision would not be fully accomplished or fully realized because I have neglected myself. If you neglect yourself, you are the first thing that is very much important, the first tool, the first resource that you need in the business. Before you can even establish relationships, that's the health aspect. The third thing, I have seen a lot of entrepreneurs who have made a lot of money but have lost families. No relationship with your kids, no relationship with your parents, your spouses, or your partners, because you have been chasing your tail. You are worried about making that dollar, and in the process, you're stepping on the toes of people who are supposed to be standing there and give you support. That's number 3. Number 4, I said spirituality, health, family, and then learning and knowledge. Entrepreneurs, a lot of them are lazy. You don't read, you don't research, you don't study, you don't expose yourself to lessons. You don't want to be taught. You tend to think that you know everything, and that's very problematic. That's number 4. Number 5, the society in which you live in. If you're not relevant to that society, guys, your neighbors, you know the challenges that are in your society. What is it that you're doing to add value in that society? If your society cannot celebrate you, believe you me, whoever is celebrating you, it won't last long. Because when all is said and done, you'd have to go back to that society that you're living with. And then only after that will the element of money come. Your relationship with money, how do you manage money, and those kind of things. So if you look at all these things that we talk about, marketing, bookkeeping, all these things, they tie into these 6 pillars that I spoke to. They tie into the spiritual element, which is your belief system, your principles, your values that drives you. They ties into your ability to give the best that you have. They tie into the fact that you've got a support system, which is your family. You've got people that are driving and believing in you no matter what. They tie into the fact that you are knowledgeable and you are adding value because you keep learning and you are relevant at all the times. They tie into the fact that the society, sometimes even the first clients that we need to be able to service are the immediate societies that we come from. And then the issue of money, it's taken care of. But unfortunately, because of lack of balance, we fail. The last thing is what I've touched on extensively ever since I got here is the issue of relevant. If you are not relevant, and I mean driving relevance is in different forms, research, innovation, management. You cannot say, I am doing this. I mean, give you an example. 13 years ago, I invented the Super-Poney. Invented the Super-Poney. It has won so many awards, the Sage One Business Awards, the Big Break Legacy. It's been used by so many corporate entities, your Investec, Sasol, Standard Bank, you name them. They're using the Super-Poney. And people start thinking, wow, this game is powerful. But you know what? Last year, I was awoken to the fact that is the age of digital consumption. Unless I take this print-based game and convert it into a mobile application and give young people access to this thing, it's going to die a slow death. Somebody out there is developing something that is much more powerful than what I've done, you know. So if I would sit and say, no, I'm not going to go that route because I'm still making money from this game. I mean, I was saying to Monde earlier, I mean, with per session, we're charging, we don't sell the game, we sell the learning experience in the game. Per session, we're charging in the region of about 98,000 rands per session. Now, if somebody says to me, if you're going to sell an app, you're not going to make 98,000 rands. But the truth of the matter is, if I sell the app for 499, I'll be able to sell more apps than I would have been able to sell the experience itself. So we are basically, now we are on phase 3 where the game is being converted, it's been adapted into a digital platform because I understood that I am losing my relevance in the market. I'm never getting those call-ups as much as I used to in 2014. I mean, 2013, 2014, we're making money like it was going out of fashion because Standard Bank will wake me up in the morning and say, there's a session tomorrow, we want you. And after that, while I'm in Standard Bank, Investec will call, Sasol will call, you name them, WDB will call, and they give us jobs. But now, last year, I realized that I'm starting now to send proposals, too many proposals around. It means I've lost my relevance. The best way, remain relevant. Don't be stubborn. Don't think your business is fail-proof. No business is fail-proof, guys. That's a reality. No business is fail-proof. The only thing that will make you fail-proof is to remain relevant. The one thing, if you can think back, Nokia, early 90s, you remember how powerful Nokia was? They are throwing themselves back now because finally they realize that we have to adapt. They thought they've got this monopoly. And I can even bring it close home. Yesterday, what happened on Sunday, the announcement for enterprise. I mean, guys, these are the things that we don't take serious. KPMG. I mean, guys, you should learn from these things that these are people and corporate entities that were too comfortable. If you're an entrepreneur and you're too comfortable, I feel for you. You must never be comfortable. You must always, always, always pursue relevance. You must always remain relevant.
Gift, so that we don't lose some of our audience.
Yes.
Can you please explain what is the Super-Poney? And when I play the game, you know, what learnings will I get as an entrepreneur?
The Super-Poney, it's what we did basically is we took the models that are mostly studied when you're doing MBAs and stuff, your higher echelon in business studies and stuff. We simplified them, converted them into a playable game, but there are areas that we're targeting that we're addressing on Super-Poney. I'll give you just a few features that makes it different and unique. You know, how many of you played Monopoly? When you play Monopoly, how many tokens do you use to walk around on the game? Tokens. One token. It will be either a shoe, a horse, whatever it is that you're walking around the game with, isn't it? Now with the Super-Poney, what we did is the Super-Poney is the only game that uses the 3-token approach. Meaning, if you are using a horse or a head, each player will be using 3 of those. You'll be using 3 horses, 3 heads. And then when I was doing that, people were asking me, why are you doing that? I said, okay, let me tell you something. For a balanced entrepreneur, you need 3 things. The mind, the body, and the soul. The mind being the business idea itself, the body being the resources that you need to make that idea work, The soul being the things, remember the spirituality that I spoke to, your beliefs, your principles, your values, your culture, intangible things. So now we address these three things when you're playing the Superpreneur. You'll find that the first token, the one that represents the mind, it works like your Monopoly token, which you'll be going around the game on. Then the second token represents the things that you'll accumulate as you run your business properly. And then the third thing is you'll realize that your biggest enemy is yourself. We like pointing fingers, guys. Can I please say this to you? If you have not invoiced anyone last month or this month, the biggest enemy is yourself. Don't even start thinking of outsourcing the blame. Nobody wants that tender. You are your biggest enemy. So these are the things that we teach. We're addressing issues like, even though we touch on things like financial management, time management principles, administration skills, bookkeeping and stuff, but what makes it more exciting is that we also speak to the power of collaboration, negotiation skills, risk calculation, and those things, all those things are happening in one game. Now, when you play other games, like I'll use Monopoly as an example, every player starts with 100,000 rands, isn't it? You all get and you got, not with the Superpreneur, it does not work like that. The Superpreneur, we've got a tool that we call the capital generator. Now with the capital generator, what happens is each and every player is given a chance to shape and build their business. Think of it as a simplified version of the business model canvas, where now you need to know who your clients are, what the product is, who your client, what solution are you bringing, who your clients are, how you're going to distribute it, and who are your competitors and stuff. So you do that on the capital generator. Based on how you interacted with the capital generator, we will then allocate a startup for you, a startup capital. So you find that I'm playing against you. I started with 100,000, you start with 50,000, because maybe you could not deal with other areas. But it does not mean automatically I'm a winner. It only means I've got 60,000 more than what you had. We start playing now. The other thing on the Superpreneur is that, you know, these games, they are driven by luck. The roll of a dice determines your future in the game. If you roll 6, you become excited and you fall on the wrong spot, it frustrates you. You go to the spot. If you fall on the spot that you're supposed to fall on, you cannot do anything. Now, on the Superpreneur, we wanted to erode the element of luck. We created a tool that is called the player focus sheet. Now, the player focus sheet, what the player focus sheet does is that it's like a business plan. You design your business. So even though you roll the dice, the spot does not affect you the same. The spot affects you based on your level of preparedness on the player focus sheet. So if you are not prepared, the spot that you fall into, let's say maybe the temptation spot, we've got a spot called the temptation. The temptation spot will affect you based on how prepared you were on the player focus sheet. So we try to make it as realistic as possible. It's not a game where you just roll a dice, land on spot, laugh and all. There's a lot of laughter, there's a lot of fun into it, but we are simulating real life business here. So that's how the Superpreneur works. And that experience, imagine now, you'll be able to see that hope and play it on your iOS or Android phone. That's basically what we're doing now.
When is it going to be launched?
As I said, we are on phase 3 of the development of the app, the mobile app. The actual game itself, I did say to Monde, it's my gift to you guys. I'm saying I'm going to give 5 sessions. Bear in mind, each session, I said, is 98,000 rands. You can ask around. I'm giving 5 sessions to people who are here, and then Monde will determine who's going to be attending, the venues and stuff, but we're going to give 5. I want you to experience it first, and before we even launch the actual mobile app. But the game itself is alive. It's been there. It's been around for many years. People are playing it in the country.
Entrepreneurial DNA, or the entrepreneur DNA. What is that?
You are you, I'm me. Bring you to the party. I'll give you an example. Kano is my associate, my partner, my brother, my friend. The other day he was saying to me, Ash, you know, I'm frustrated. This friend of mine, he, apart from working with me in this, he also runs a recycling business. He was calling, he said to me, this other friend of mine calls me and says they want to know where I sell my stuff, my recycling stuff and whatever. And I think this guy want to copy what I'm doing. And I'm frustrated. I said to him, you know what, Ghana? Give the person information. Just give them. They'll never be you. They will never be you. One thing that we lack, hence we said authentic entrepreneurship. One thing that we lack is we leave us behind. You leave you behind. It's good to have a business plan, but in each and every aspect of that business plan, if you are detached, it will never come to pass. If your market analysis leave you behind, that business plan is not going to come alive. So when I'm talking about an entrepreneur's DNA, I'm saying we should know that la gudlulu gift, or here we can see that you must have a platform. You must know. I'll give you an example. When we launched the Binzu platform last year on the 17th of November, I don't know how many of you who attended the launch. None of you did. When we launched the platform, it was different from what I'm telling you now. And we spent money for the launch. I mean, it was a big launch. The Innovation Hub, we hired the venue. We even had artists. We had Sipoga Azi performing. For that launch alone, we spent over 400 and something thousand rand to do that launch. After the launch, I sat him down and I said, you know what? I feel this is a great idea, but I'm not in it. He's very firm. And he said to me, Papa, you're wasting my time. I mean, after that launch that we did, why now? It was based on, we had a conversation with a guy called Matt White. I don't know how many of you know Matt White. He's a brand specialist. Matt White asked me so many questions around this and I could not answer. And then I realized that I'm actually walking away from the person that I am. So the moment you leave your platform, your passengers will not know where to find you. When we're saying an entrepreneur's DNA is you need to know, guys, you cannot be everything to everyone. I don't care. You might want, like for instance, you said you are starting another business, but then in the whatever venture you are going into, please make sure that your identity, your DNA is there. Don't just start businesses willy-nilly. Don't start businesses like that. Make sure that your DNA is in that venture. Don't just do that because you've seen Gift making money out of it. It will kill you. And you know what that is called? It's called greed. A lot of entrepreneurs are driven by greed instead of purpose. So your DNA needs to be in everything that you do. Don't leave it up behind.
Any questions? Going once.
Not a question, it's just a comment. Just something that you've mentioned, just basically it's hard on me that I actually something that I mentioned every time about entrepreneurs. Always, you must empower yourself,
Yes.
because you ask a lot of entrepreneurs and you said, the first question you asked them, you said, what was the last business book you read? And the person look at you like, you are talking some other language or things like that. Then, whereas, there's free, knowledge out there that you can look at. You tell people that, like your TV, stop watching based of other people's lives.
I like that.
Yes.
Business TV, all those things get, all that knowledge. And I think that's something that, a lot of people lack, empowering themselves.
My brother, if you're saying that, you just bring something into my mind now. Going back to the issue of authenticity and entrepreneur DNA, a lot of people are not entrepreneurs, they are firefighters. I don't know if you understand what I mean when I'm saying firefighters. You wake up every morning, there is a huge flame around you, a furnace, not even a flame. There's a furnace that is hotter than the one of Nebuchadnezzar in the Bible. The first thing that you need to do is to fight the fires. And it's caused primarily by what you're saying, by the fact that you don't know anything, you've got nothing to offer. And you keep doing the same mistakes over and over again. You're not learning from anything. Sometimes it's not about the book, just an interaction with somebody. like I said when we started here, I'm not successful. And people would think after this, I've learned a lot from Gift. But believe you me, from where I'm sitting, I want to learn a lot from a lot of you here because I know I'm going to get something out of you. And that, don't blame me next time when you see me building it up into my business. I'm not hitting you. It's my ear is everywhere. I want to be relevant. I want to know what makes people tick. At the end of the day, I'm selling to people. I'm not selling to things. I'm not selling to animals. I'm selling to people. So I need to know what makes them tick. Unfortunately, you cannot achieve that if you don't constantly empower yourself. And you know, another thing that causes us to fight fires is that we don't understand, I call it the trilogy of challenges. How the trilogy of challenges work. Guys, I'm not apologetic about that. I know we are not all that, but I am. It's my identity. I'm very Christian. I'm hardcore. I'm cleansed by the blood of Jesus. And I am not apologetic. I'm not saying somebody else must do something. I'm not saying you must come and be who I am. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I am Christian, cleansed and washed by the blood of Jesus. I'm not perfect. I'm experiencing grace every day, forgiveness of sins every day. But now let's leave that. I want to use an example. You know, there's a story in the Bible that talks about King Nebuchadnezzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I related the story to you. What happened is that I think it's the book of Daniel, chapter 3. It says King Nebuchadnezzar built a golden statue, and after building a golden statue, he said, when the trumpets start sounding, everybody must bow. And then the third thing he said, if you don't bow, we are going to be thrown into the furnace. Now, I want to show you why is that a trilogy of challenges. And it's happening, forget the Bible. It's a true thing that is happening in real life, even in your space as entrepreneurs. One, he created a need. Or he created something that represents a resource. Ne? And he created an agency, a resource in the form of, gold represents wealth and whatever. He created a resource and said, here's wealth. And then, from there, he created an agency. When the trumpets start sounding, you must bow. And after that, he created a threat. A lot of us operate like that. We see the resource, there's an agency, but there's a threat. And we go in that circle. We go in that circle. The resource, wow, there's money. If I don't get this amount of money, I will not be able to pay for my children's studies. If I don't pay for my children's studies, they will turn out to be nyaupes, mokas, or whatever. I'm just giving you an example. So there's always a trilogy of challenges that is happening in our lives, which we are not prepared to deal with. How do you prepare yourself to deal with such a thing? You need to know your calling. You need to know who you are. Those things will exist anyway. If you follow the story, you'll realize that these guys did not, there are 3 guys who did not bow, but anyway, they ended up victorious. They ended up bowing. Because what it tells you is that if you know what your belief systems, and don't compromise your beliefs, don't compromise your principles. Your value is centered. Your value is anchored by those values and principles. Your worth, your personal worth. You are nothing without those personal values and principles. You are nothing without that belief system. If you believe in everything, you are nobody. You'll always be a tenant in your own piece of land. Remember, when you start a business, you are allocated a piece of space, and we've got this thing that says, own your space. How do you own your space if you don't own yourself? So I'm tired of seeing entrepreneurs who are tenants in their own spaces. You know what a tenant is? When you are a tenant, you cannot do anything. You don't determine. You cannot even say, I want to change the color of the windows, because the landlord will say, hey, you there. A lot of you cannot make decisions. You don't have authority. You don't have dominion in your spaces because you are tenants in your own spaces. So if there's one thing that I want you to walk away with today is an understanding that you're an individual. You're worth more than all the gold and all the diamond, because those things can be replicated, but there's no other you. If you start celebrating yourself, you'll realize that you'll start being magnetic. And everything that you've been chasing will start following you. And it's a truth, it's a reality, it happens. People will start calling you when you least expect them. People start talking about you when you're not even aware, and creating opportunity and opening doors without them realizing that you're opening doors for you because you own yourself. Guys, own your space. Become landlords in your pieces of spaces that you own.
Wow. As we draw to a close, can you tell us about Binzu and the new initiative, the Township League?
The Township League, yes. We are going to be unfolding what we call the Super-Poney Township League, just like the PSL League. But the difference is our focus is in farming. How many of you are in farming? Agriculture, farming, okay. The focus is in farming. So how we're going to run this is quite exciting. I'm excited about this. We're going to have 16 teams. 16 teams. First, we're going to appoint the team managers, who are the coaches. The team manager is going to have a committee of 4 people. And then this committee together, they're going to appoint 10 players who are going to be a cooperative in the farming space. Now, what we do is we use a Super-Poney to train them to do the experiential learning and get them to the space where they do the work. They don't just play the game, no. They play the game and do the work. Set up farming, get piece of land, farm that land. When you're doing poultry farming, do those chicken. But then the nice thing about it is we've created an ecosystem where you don't just be farming chicken and be standing on the corner trying to sell the chicken. The ecosystem itself is going to consume those things from you. So the eggs will be bought in that by us, representing other things. But the beauty of it is that each team is going to be allocated a budget of 1 million rands. 1 million rands, how it's going to be separated or it's going to be cut into pieces is that the team manager will have a salary, the committee salary, and even the players. So these cooperatives are each going to earn 5,000 rands for 6 months, each of them. At the end of a season, we'll have 3 teams that are winning. They'll be sharing 2 million rands. The first is 1.2 million, and then 500,000, and then 300,000. So this league, to get more about it, I suggest we talk more about it when we're doing the Super-Poney session. It's based on the Super-Poney. It's going to also be turned into a television television program. It's going to be called the Super-Poney Township League.
Well done, buddy.
Any last questions? 2. 1, 2. Yes, sir.
Alright, so I wanted to understand when it comes to relationships, like specifically, you mentioned earlier that they won't just be client-oriented relationships.
Yes.
But I just have a question with regards to how your strategy to maintain your relationships. Like, let's say your corporate clients and your smaller businesses. What's your strategy to maintain relationships
Are you saying the strategy to deal with corporate clients and smaller business, internal, external people?
I spoke to Martha and I said I want to use that bottle here as a gift. This one.
Sure. Just to answer that, I like answering questions
Just one of those boxes.
by asking questions. Just to answer that, maybe somebody else. Who knows
Just this one.
the pillars of customer services? Come on, guys. What are you serving your customers? I'm not talking. Just have an idea. For you to render best customer services, what is it that you're supposed to do?
We need to address their needs.
Pardon?
Address their needs.
Address their needs. Communications. Pardon?
Wow them with service.
Wow them.
With service.
Give them value for their money.
Give them value for their money. What else? Keep your promises.
You need to make them feel like kings.
You need to make them feel like kings.
get feedback on the service provider?
Get feedback on the service provider.
I'm not sure if it's one of the pillars. Didn't do much business studies, but one of the things that I found out while researching in terms of entrepreneurships and how to deal with customers, I was listening to Fusita Mbakwa not so long ago, you know, talking about finding out the real truth, the truth.
Yes.
Going straight to the customer, talking to them, going straight to the cashier, talking to them and find out what is working and why is it working and what is not working.
Beautiful. Yes? Affordability. You know, guys, what you've just said, there's a common denominator to it, and we've discussed it. And that common denominator is going to be an answer to you. What is common in everything that you've just said? Guys, let's not confuse ourselves. We like to be too complex. Be relevant.
Yeah.
Be relevant.
Yeah.
Be relevant. If you stop keeping your promises, you are no longer relevant. If you don't know what the truth is, you're not relevant. If you're not wowing them with service, if you don't make them feel like kings, you're not relevant. So I don't care whether it's somebody in the US who's running a multi-billion company or somebody who's running a spaza shop that has just started with 60 rands yesterday. Be relevant. Let's not confuse ourselves, my brother. I mean, there's this science studies that you have, the science of customer service and whatever, they just want to teach you one thing. Be relevant. Remain relevant. If you're not relevant, then nobody will come to you. I mean, there are companies who spend so much money on customer services strategy development, and they still go down the drain. BlackBerry, Nokia, I can name them. They still don't cut it because they forget one thing. At the end of the day, it's about relevance. Remain relevant. The second question?
Yeah. It's from my side. I'm also starting a new venture, right? So nobody in the venture that I'm starting, there's no black businesses in that industry, only white. Okay.
Yes.
But now the challenge there is I'm currently running off the back of a white company that has provided me with ED funds and SD funds.
Yes.
But under the pretense of the MD of that company wants a share in this company as well, right? I'm just trying to navigate how to still keep him close because I need his expertise with the market side and the fact that I don't feel comfortable with the fact that what he's seeing in the future, you understand? He's thinking he's investing money that in essence he is helping me develop the business, but he's ticking his boxes on the other side, you know. But he's also thinking that is buying him a piece in my business. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Which is, in a way, I'm juggling these two, and I'm trying to figure out how would I be able to keep that level of how can I say, getting the funding that I need with the knowledge that he has, that is handing over to me, without allowing that exploitation of black business, you understand, becoming partly owned white business again as well. You understand what I'm saying? If you've got any advice around
it's quite a complex one, and as I said when we started here, I would not be human if I was to have answers to everything. But then what becomes very vivid as you're explaining your scenario, I want to ask this question to you. Why would you call it, and I'm not saying it's not, I'm just saying in your own terms, why would you call it exploitation? Is it because it was called exploitations in the past? It can be exploitation in a different setup, but maybe in your specific setup, it's a blessing. I'm not saying go with it, but I'm just trying to move away from this thing. You know, especially we black entrepreneurs, we've got a brush that we're painting opportunities with. Even if an opportunity is too bright, we've got a pre-determined brush that we are painting everything with, And then that's why we walk past a lot of opportunities, because we don't realize some of them are real, genuine opportunities. Maybe what you need to understand is, how do I identify genuine opportunities? Have I sold my vision effectively to this guy? Do I believe that he has bought the vision, or he's doing it, like you say, as a tick box exercise? But then as a tick box, why would you want to buy stake in the business? Because if you're saying he's got background, he's got resources, and he still wants shares in your business, the question would be, is this a fronting kind of setup, or it's a genuine? And I would not, from where I am, I don't know the person. You know, it's very bad for us to label people without knowing them. I don't know the person that you're working with, and I cannot safely say, no, my brother, walk away from that. It might be a genuine opportunity, but I believe you need to sit down. You know, this concerns that you are raising now to me. Have you sat down with him and say, my brother, I thank you for 1, 2, 3, and I thank you for 3, 4, 5. I've got this concern. Can we? And because now you're going to harbor them, and this relationship is going to last long. And when they come out in the near future, you're not going to deal with them. In fact, you're going to explode, because it's something that has been brewing under for such a long time. And because you've approached it, can I please say this to you guys? Please, 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 please. Entrepreneurship is entrepreneurship. Solution is solution. It knows no boundaries, it knows no colors. If you develop something that is mediocre and expect us to consume it because you are black, you are wrong. We're not going to buy it. Black people need to start developing solutions that are relevant, irrespective of who's going to consume them. Be relevant. Don't think this color thing, we've been, yes, there's this element of racism and there's this element of supremacy and all. I'm not rubbishing that, but what I'm saying is, you as an entrepreneur, your role is to generate solutions. Solutions irrespective of who's going to consume them. It's not about color. So I cannot give you an answer, but I'll advise you to sit down with a guy. Be a man. And I see you are a man.
He's a man.
Sit down, look the guy in the eyes and tell him what you're feeling. Because unfortunately, now you are thinking you are helping the situation by being quiet and pretending as if you are happy, but you are actually shooting yourself in the foot. You'll sell yourself short if you're not careful, or you'll miss an opportunity that would have helped you. The third one?
Can I just add on to what you just said?
Yes.
The thing is, what he has said, it's a classical situation, but in reality, for you to do anything, there is nothing for free.
Yes.
And whenever somebody helps you, there is a reason why they help, because nobody will just come out and say, I love you, let me do it. It's not about love, but it's about them meeting their own goals as well. The thing is, he needs to sit by himself and then really say, what is it that he wants to achieve? What are his goals? And once he can determine his goals, he will determine the milestones that will go into those goals. And that means he can even negotiate with the guy who's funding him. You know, he can negotiate the exit strategy for the guy. Because all the guy is saying is, you are prepared to do this, and this is how I will assist. And for me to assist you, you've got to reach A, B, C, D. That's what the funder will say. But at the same time, for him, he's going to say, this is what I want. If ever his plan was to make $1 million, because now he sees that he's got this guy along with. Instead of making $1 million, rather, they must increase the cake and make it bigger, and be accommodative. But then there should be an exit strategy.
Exactly.
Because there's no business that lasts forever. I cannot say I'll be in this business for the next 10 years. Business does mutate almost every 2 years.
And thanks for helping, my brother. You know, I normally say to people, it's better to own 10% of 10 billion than to own 100% of 100 rand. But you must still establish a point of synchronicity. When I'm saying synchronicity, I mean there must be a synergistic point. You need to be at a point where you say, I know his expectations, these are my expectations, this is where a point of synergy is established. Because it's not going to be there's no perfect fit. Even in marriage, there's no such a thing as perfect fit. There's no such a thing. It doesn't exist. Life, success it's about sacrifices. The question is, what have you sacrificed today? Not compromises. Compromises are very dangerous. I'm talking sacrifices. There are things that you must be prepared to let go. Not morals, no. Yes. Any question? The last one? Is it the last one?
It's that I feel like we've been shortchanged somehow. You spoke about a medical aid for entrepreneurs. Now we're going over it. We're going to last questions. And the Binzu thing, it's like not a lot has been
Unpacked on that.
Maybe we should go to WW.
That Binzu. Okay, how we're going to work on Binzu is that entrepreneurs are going to be applying. We're not taking everyone. We're sitting with about how many applications? 2,842 applications, and I can tell you now, not all of them are going to make it. We're not going to take everyone because we are going to sift through. There's a process we're going to use, sit down with people, interview them, assess if we can get that authentic thing that we're looking for. And as soon as we do that, then we say to you, okay, you've made it to the next level. Now we give you forms, you complete the forms, and then you can now become a member. As a card-carrying member of the Binzu program, what solutions we're giving you includes expert assistance. When we say strength focus, meaning if you are designing shoes, we want you to focus on designing shoes. Don't worry about bookkeeping or whatever. Just design shoes and be the best shoe designer at it. We will do to an extent that after designing the shoe, you bring the shoe, you pitch it to a panel of experts. That will be the marketing experts and sales experts. You will get somebody from Binzu to take your shoes and go sell it for you and get 10% commission from you. You will just have to focus on designing the shoes. That's it. And we're looking at the issue that entrepreneurs are dying. When most of them, when they die or when family members die, they're running around not knowing how to bury their family because they don't have what you call that insurances, funeral covers and stuff. We're giving them funeral cover. And then a lot of them die in public hospital because there's no medical aid. So we have secured a deal with Essential Medical Aid. We say we are giving entrepreneurs medical aid. Some of us in the past 6, the last time you saw me I was bigger than this, remember. I've lost 12.5 kilograms because now through Binzu we've got the Vision Active gym membership. Now we are saying one thing that will keep your membership, and it's a compulsory aspect of the membership. You must go to the gym, at least you must record 3 hours per week in the gym. If you don't, we're not only cancelling your Vision Active membership, we're cancelling your membership because we want, no, that I'm not apologetic about it. I'm not going to compromise on that because we want fit entrepreneurs. We want people who will be able to give the best. We have not been able to, I mean, if you are losing yourself in the process, what is it that will be left for you to give to the people? So these are the things that we're doing. But then I suggest you go, there is a form there. It's just a short form. You complete your details, submit. Kano will be the one receiving it on the other hand, and Kano will send you a date for an assessment. You come to the assessment and we show you what we get. And we're not saying because we've got 1, 2, 3, we're going to give you all. No, we just want to make sure that we are giving you something that is relevant to you. Then we'll give you those solutions. Believe you me, guys, how much do you think a premium for something like that would be per month?
3,000 plus.
3,000
plus.
How much is the premium, Kano? Don't be ashamed.
Was.
The thing is, at some point, we had it at about 13,000 when we started. And over time, after we kept on revisiting it, it will cost you 1.4 every month.
Okay.
For all those benefits.
So these are the things that we're bringing to, and how, if you ask me, how do I pay 1,700 and get all these things, medical aid, gym membership, expert services, and all these things? It's numbers, exactly. So because we've got 2,840, I was able to go to Vision Active and say, guys, you charge 399. I've got 2,850 entrepreneurs behind me. We want that thing for 61 rand. They went to and fro and they came back. So 61 rand. And I don't want 30 days, I only want 12 days, 3 days per week, remember? 61 rand. They gave it 61 rand. We get the medical aid. We go to Essential Med. They said, it's going to cost you this much. I said, we're not paying that. We go to QuickBooks. You know how much is QuickBooks? The complete solution is about 3,900 and something. We're getting it for like 450 for you. So this is basically how the Binzu solution is going to run. But to get more information, visit the site, complete the form, submit, and then we'll interact with you.
And Gift will still be here. Ladies and gentlemen, can we just stand and embrace Gift? Thank you, Gift.
Sure. Thanks, my brother.